What it is?
And it's annoying that I'm just trying to computer stuff.
Nah, I gotcha.
Just computer stuff. I could explain it, but it's just like, who cares?
Yeah.
Just computer stuff. However, that will be solved tomorrow.
Oh, new computer?
New computer tomorrow, boy.
You getting the Mac Mini? I know you were talking about it.
I am indeed.
That's what I got, man. I've been doing pretty good with it.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited because like the laptop has just been kind of you shouldn't be heating up while you're looking at the internet. It's just you shouldn't be that hot. I know there's going to be a little bit of warmth and whatever, but no. Eventually, you just got to be like, all right, we got to do something else here. And I just like the last thing I want is for it to, and I feel like it would just kind of crap out like in the middle of a show or something. But I also, it's like it's an 8-year-old computer, so it's a lot tougher to do things if you want to like edit video and stuff. It's a lot more difficult to do that stuff now. So like,
I mean, that's the situation I was in. I had like a 9-year-old computer, I think, before I upgraded.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, we're gonna upgrade to the M2, and I jumped up to all the RAM and all that crap, but not like I didn't spec out full hard drive because that is wasting money. But RAM, however, you need that RAM, boy.
Yeah, I got a pretty mid-level model, but I've been happy with it.
Yeah, and so that's kind of, and I'm like, okay, break the speed editor out here and everything, and then whenever they decide to drop that new road, I can't wait because I just want to, like, this thing is so huge now that I look at it compared to that thing, and I'm like, oh, I want that tiny little thing so bad.
You know, I'm sure I could find a good use for the space that's being taken up by my road, but I kind of look at the corner that it's in, and if I put a smaller version there, I feel like it would still take up the whole corner. Like I wouldn't use that corner for much else.
Yeah, it's like mine's like just to my left here and everything. So like just real close where probably most people keep, like a keyboard, but it's like further off to the left and everything. But it's still very close approximation because I'm just, I don't want to say I'm riding
my soundboard. I can put my thumb on the shift key and my index finger on my soundboard. No problem.
Can I hold your attention for just 2 seconds here and just look at the glorious beard on this man?
Wow. What are we talking about?
We're talking about you, handsome. Look at that beard.
Your beard looks a lot like mine. I was going to say, let me turn my camera on. Then I remembered I don't have a camera. That's one thing you got to remember about the Mac Mini, Adam. It doesn't have a camera.
Yeah, and the toughest part will be me not upgrading a monitor. I'm going to just try to my best not to run down that neighborhood because that's a road I don't want to go down. Yeah. But it's a road I also know that I'm apt to walk down.
I picked up a pretty entry-level Samsung curved monitor.
I mean, mine's not bad. It's for what it is and what I paid for it. It's A-okay, and it will do for a while, I think. So, but yeah. But I got the new keyboard and everything. I got the new keyboard and the trackpad. Holy crap! This is just the thinnest.
Oh, I've never had the keyboard with the trackpad.
Well, no, the trackpad's a separate one, but it's basically the same as your Magic Mouse kind of thing. I decided to go trackpad instead of mouse this time.
Nothing wrong with it. It works great on laptops if that's what you're going for.
Yeah, it seemed well enough, and I like the whole, a lot of the gestures and stuff. Still kind of, I still use a lot of that junk moving between different screens and stuff like that all the time.
Yeah.
Because it's like that 3-finger swoop is just the best.
So I have been running and gunning literally all weekend. Like I have not stopped since I stopped working on Friday because I had to run back to Charlotte because my daughter had this event that she was doing. And Bruce, you can commiserate with me here.
Yes.
I've worked really hard to get my kids to a point where they have very, very different lives than I do. Like,
so
much better lives.
I want to interject that within the last 30 to 45 minutes, I was sitting and having this very thought. So pray continue. This is so timely. Like I wanted to bring this topic up. So I want to hear your story.
Very good. So my daughter says to me about like a month and a half ago, she's like, hey, can you come to Charlotte for the weekend? Because I have an event. And I was like, oh yeah, of course. Absolutely. This is the daughter who never asks me for anything, like ever.
You're going to be there no matter what.
Yes. So, I make the plans and I realize I'm like, oh, hey, wait a minute. I don't know what this thing is. So I ask her about it in detail and I'm like, so what is this event you have? And she goes, well, my boyfriend and I, we are we participate in the steeplechase event called the Queen's Cup every.
Oh, is it just me? Uh-oh, it may just be me.
It's business casual, but it's like crazy business casual. So what I found was I have like pink highlighter color Adidas. And so I wear those with this really loud pink shirt, like button down shirt that I have. And so I go to the event dressed like that. When I show up to my daughter's house and go and show up on her doorstep, the last thing that I want to do, because I know her mindset enough to know, just please don't embarrass me. Like, I know that because, in her head, I'm still a very blue collar person, which I truly am. Even though my job isn't blue collar anymore, I still have the same mindset.
You know what's funny? When my kids ask me not to embarrass them, blue collar's got nothing to do with it.
No, I know. I understand.
He's like, Dad, please don't wear your wizard robe to my graduation.
I do dress like a hobo.
But she's asking me things like this, like, what can I do for you for this? She's like, can you bring a couple of your folding tables? But I need a couple of, can you get your cleaner folding tables? Meaning she doesn't want paint on them. And there's like no saw cuts in it and stuff like that. And because we have to use those for work all the time. And so I'm like, sure, of course. So, like just stuff like that, like things where like she doesn't want my blue collarness to show at this event. And so, like so I'm dressed the way that I saw other people dressed through photos. And so when I show up at their doorstep, her boyfriend opens the door first and he goes, absolutely amazing. Amazing. That's perfect. And I get the idea where I'm like, she's getting blowback from the boyfriend that I am like, I am the guy who's going to show up like with a trucker hat and a dirty T-shirt, like that kind of thing.
Now
let me get my
sort of thing
shawl.
my children can never let me think they're worried about.
No, I understand that about you. I do. You do have that Southern guy thing of, you don't want me to do that? Let me double down on that. Like, that's a Southern guy thing all the way.
Oh, boy. After your story, the little girl who got left in the rain made an appearance today. We'll circle back around to that.
Oh, we got to hear about that. But so... we go to this event. It's amazing. It is amazing. It's so fun. Like, yeah, there's people who are like all dressed up and there's a lot of money being thrown around, but it's mostly people who want you to think they have a lot more money than they do. And I deal with those people all day long. I know how to converse with those people every single day because I have to. And so, like, I have a great time and she has a great time because I fit in so well, and the boyfriend, and I get to meet all of their friends. And it was really, truly, honestly wonderful. But as I'm driving back today, back to Atlanta, I think to myself, I'm like, my kids have such a totally different life than I do, where they're going to a horse racing event and they're inviting their father. My daughter is inviting her father, who she's nervous is going to look like one of the Poors.
I mean, come on, that's an episode of every third sitcom from one of those weird cable channels we don't watch that are geared towards lady audiences.
I guess so. And so like, and like I'm talking to my dad about this today. And I was like, did I ever make you feel like, that you were some poor person? And he's like, no. He's like, why are you hearing that from your kids? I was like, sorta. And so I told him the thing. I told him the story, and he was like, well, one, that sounds like a wonderful time. But two, I would not have been nearly as gracious as you were. And I was like, no, I know very well the man who sometimes calls them those people isn't going to have a great time with a couple of people who think that they're richer than they actually are.
This fella's putting on airs over here. I don't need none of that.
Yeah. So you got to tell me the kid you left out in the raid story.
Oh man. So yeah. The story that is now on its third week, but I think it's almost come to an end, because I talked to her mom.
Right. Yeah. You said that last week.
And got to know her older sister well. Well, she's finally at the show today, and she happens to sit like a row in front of me at the show. And I'm like, okay, this is going to be weird. And then, of course, two of the boys involved, my son and his friend Charlie, are sitting a row behind me because for some reason they don't want to sit next to me.
What?
Yeah, so I'm like, I say, oh, hi there. I'm sorry about leaving you out in the rain. I talked to your mom and stuff, so next time it's okay. She's like, I probably wouldn't have gotten in your car anyway. And she just turned around and sat down. And I was like, did I just get mean girled? Did I just get mean girled? So,
you sure did.
So I'm like, okay, so the two boys that her and her friend are obviously here to torture are sitting behind me, and they're sitting in front of me. So I thought, you know what? I stood up and said, Amelia, if you're looking, they're right back here. I don't know if you saw where they're sitting at. Boys, there she is. And then I sat down. So I was like, maybe I ended up winning. I don't know, but I think that the story's come to an end.
Congratulations. You just got the best of a 12-year-old girl.
Yeah.
Excellent job.
Girl.
You showed them.
Here's the funny story, though. Like, there's more stories behind this little girl that got left in the rain. Because when my wife told her older sister, who's like 16, 17 in my daughter's class, she said, you know what? I think she needed to be humbled. And after meeting the little girl, I get why the sister's saying it, because the older sister is just your sweet, all-American, high school, 16, 17-year-old, awkward, braces, little too skinny, whatever. You know what I mean? Just your standard high school experience. I don't know, like, if the family feeds them out of different refrigerators or what, but her little sister is kind of like a 12-year-old Christina Hendricks.
Oh, wow.
So I understand why the two little boys there's no hope for them.
Yeah, sometimes you just go like, well, I get that kid.
Their life will be absolutely as miserable as she wants it to be.
Yep.
But anyway, hopefully I brought an end to all that.
Man, that's amazing.
I had to turn off my ringing phone there. I think you guys heard that for a second.
Yes, which keeps the streak alive. It was like, her friends are great. Like, they're like, my daughter she doesn't like anybody, which means that she's very popular. She's one of those kids where, like, she's not mean spirited, but she doesn't like anybody either. Like, she likes like 4 people, and I just happen to be one of those people, so I'm one of the lucky ones.
Thank goodness,
Yeah, no kidding. And and there's 3 other people at this thing that she really likes a lot. And so she had probably what I would consider to be one of her best days. And so it was really fun to be around because she was actually smiling, which she doesn't always do. And she was being very gracious, which she isn't always gracious. And it was just a really great time, even though it started so weird for me, where it's like, my dirty, poor dad is going to show up. And so I need him to not look dirty and poor today.
Honestly, as afraid as they are of me embarrassing them, it's really their mom that they try to dodge, because they know I'm doing it on purpose.
Sure.
And like, at least I understand the boundaries of the game. But with mom, it is 100% like, the world will end if I don't get this kiss on the lips in front of all your friends.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That is awesome.
Why would you do this to your poor mother?
But, it was just, though, today, sitting at the show, thinking about a few things, and like, Silas has had some trouble with school, but he's doing like great in other ways. And one thing that we could potentially do is maybe have him go to a school for the arts, like boarding school, that kind of thing. Like, we have the ability to do that. So we're kind of thinking about, is that what is best for him long term or not? So we kind of got some of that debate going on, and I'm just sitting there thinking, like, my any debate with me when it came to school was like, am I gonna eat the free school breakfast, or am I just going to do without because it's kind of nasty? Like, that was about it. So it is just kind of nice to be in that situation where you can do some things differently. But I don't know, that I knew that I wanted to give my children a better childhood than I did. But then again, that's setting the bar so low that would probably be criminal if they're life was not better than mine at their age.
Sure.
So it was kind of like, that's a pretty easy one to succeed at.
What with the 21st century and all?
Yeah, it was a really great weekend. Oh, and then my daughter keeps saying to me towards the end of the day, she's like, "Are you coming over to the house after? You coming over to the house after?" And I can tell something's up. I was like, "Sure." And so I'm like getting myself ready for whatever it is she's going to say to me. And I know that in her head she thinks it's good news because, like it's just the way she's asking me the question, "Are you coming over to the house later?" And so I'm like, "Okay, well, I need to get ready, And so I drive over to the house and she's like, "So I already got you your Father's Day and birthday present." And so I'm like, "Okay, great. So it's not anywhere near where I thought you were going to be with it." So
that's right. No announcements are made of any kind.
Already my gift is
way better. Yeah, exactly. Woo, thank Christ.
Yes. And I know her enough to know that's not that she's pregnant, because that's not going to be a thing. But like, I'm like concerned like that she's going to get married, like something like that, like
big decisions,
right? Like huge life altering decision. But no,
heck, our kids are old enough where they could have really bad news about their health or something now with a meeting like that.
The way she was asking me was more like, "I am about to tell you some really great news," kind of a thing.
Good.
Yeah. So I get to the house. She goes, "So I got you your birthday and your Father's Day present." I was like, "Great." And keep in mind, like for many, many years, like what that means for her is like, I made this painting for you, which is great because she is a really great artist. She really is. Although she would tell you that she is a doodler.
Yeah, so anyway, that's what the good ones do. No one looks at their art and just goes like, "This is fabulous." They just go like, "It's all right."
It's true. You are right. And so, and like, keep in mind, I'm ready for it. Like, I'm like, "Yes, awesome. I think I even know where I'm going to hang it." Like that kind of thing. Like I'm thinking like that. She comes out from around the corner. She's got a PS5 in her hands.
What?
Ooh. Yeah.
Holy moly.
Brand new in the box, still in the box, never opened PS5.
My word.
And I was like, why did you get me this? Like this gift is so extravagant. Like, why would you buy me this? And she's like, "Well, you need to keep in mind that this is sort of kind of a gift for us as well, because Jesse, her boyfriend, and we want to start playing video games with you online."
That's awesome.
Oh, that is the best thing ever.
It really was. Like she could not have possibly gotten me something greater. And I am so excited for it.
Yeah.
And she said to me, she's like, "Look, I know that time is an issue with you," which she's not wrong. Time has been an issue for me with her since she was little. So like, it's never like time is never like a great thing for me. And she's like, "So when you have the time, I need you to set this up and I need you to get this game and this game and this game." And I'm like, done.
Man, I'm so happy for you.
I cannot wait, man. Like it is the best gift she could have possibly given me.
Now, the first at least week, you have to go into, "I'm an old man and don't know how video games work." Just keep asking all the questions, just stuff that you do know the answer to, but keep asking them in game as if you have. This is the first time seeing video games almost as a whole. Just like this is a foreign thing to you.
Tell her you were trying to set it up and you can't figure out where the tapes go. They love it.
Oh man,
we don't know what to do with the tapes.
That's so great. I will tell you that I watched her play in a tournament within the last month or so, because she is trying to become a semi-pro gamer as her hobby. Instead of doing podcasts like we do, she wants to be a semi-pro gamer. Yeah. And so I'm watching her online play. And she's in Discord, which she has to teach me how to do. And so I get up on Discord so I can listen to her and her friends talking back and forth. And I'm on the Discord server with them. And finally Megan says, "I know it's killing you. Go ahead, start talking." So I was like, so I start with my hilarious comedy bits. Like
nice.
How I think that big swords are so stupid. Like stuff like I hate big swords. I think they're so dumb. But you know what I mean?
When I'm not around, you hurt me so.
But you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like those like
mean.
anime gigantic dumb swords that like
they are ridiculous.
I've got a foam rubber one. I know what you mean.
They're so dumb.
Cloud Strife's blade.
And so but some of my bits have made it to her friends group. So like I'm like, so what's up with Birdcage Lady? And they're like, Birdcage Lady. And so they still call her that. Like stuff like that.
So nothing makes your young adult, teenage to young adult daughter more annoyed than when her friends kind of like you.
Yes. Well, you would have been correct about this a couple of years ago.
Yeah. Well, I'm still dealing with the high schooler.
Right. I mean, my oldest daughter is 25 now. So like, she's adult enough now where she isn't like, she wants her friends to like me.
Gotcha.
And me to like her friends. And there's this really weird thing that happens because I had kids so young, and it happened again at the at the steeplechase event, which is that some of her friends know me, but most of her friends don't. And so like, I'm there and hanging out and talking with her boyfriend and like, talking to her. And so people are like, who is that guy? Like her friends would be like, who is that guy? And I would hear out of the corner of my ear,
that's Sweet Chelsea from the
internet. I would hear them go. I would hear either Jesse or my daughter say, "That's Megan's dad," or that's my dad. And every single time they would go, "Really?" And then every single time the next line was always the same, which is, I know he doesn't look like a dad, but trust me, he's dad, and he is like full-time actual dad. He's not, like cool dad. And so like over the course of because we were there for, we were close to 10 hours there, like 8-10 hours. So by the end, everyone would be like, I didn't see it at first. But then, I start looking at you and your daughter, and like the mannerisms are the same. And even though you don't look exactly like, like you're from the same family, you start seeing it after a while. I was like, yeah, we always get that. The other daughter is the one who looks more like me. And it was such a wonderful day. It was such a great day. I really needed it because work has been a bugaboo. So it was so fun.
Man, I've got great dad stories. We just want to go ahead and go into Dinger Zone because I can tell a couple more dad talks because we're getting close to Mother's Day. So let's focus on fathers.
Yeah, screw them moms. What'd they ever do except for, that whole birth thing? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Hero Movie Podcast, your greatest source for superhero movie discussion in the multiverse. I'm your host, Adam Portress, and joining Pete today, like the Commandant, he's also looking to get his hands on some healthy young men, sweet Sean Kovacs from the internet.
I've killed a lot of goldfish in my time.
And he's always slaps on the gun oil before a big date with the wife, Bruce Leslie.
I'm a prickly pear, and for Gen X kids, this was our Rick and Morty.
Oh, that is not too far off. Welcome back, everybody. This week we are talking our Patreon selection, and if it wasn't, this is an interesting month. This is the last month we gave you guys a handful of sequels to vote on, and vote you did. Here's how the breakdown works out for you. Coming in at last place, no one cared anything about Teen Wolf 2. Sorry, Mr. Bateman, but you will not be seen today. Coming in at third place here, we got RoboCop 2, which interestingly was pointed out that we have done RoboCop 1, but it was a lost episode, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah.
Because
during COVID,
yeah, we had an
Heck,
oopsie
that wouldn't
doodle.
be a bad one to revisit just for the heck of it someday.
So you never know. But actually, no, I'm sorry. That was number 2, Universal Soldier. I don't know why I skipped that one. Maybe because it was Universal Soldier: The Return. I think I skipped it just like everyone else did. That had 18%. RoboCop 2 had 25%, but with a runaway 50%. Police Academy 2 is what we're going to be talking about this week, and holy moly. We got that. So I would say a big thank you to those people that support us at patreon.com/HMP. Again, those people, they get to vote on what we watch. You get pre-show, post-show, Dinger Zone, and, we really appreciate that. I do want to also, right now, shout out some of our supporters who have podcasts that you guys should definitely check out as well, okay? We've got the How We Sees It podcast that's got Steve and Noah on it. Steve and Noah, I think they both... if at least one, if not both of them, actually support this show. Reviewing movies, making cocktails is a very good time over there. The Main Attraction podcast, I'm sure you guys, we had on for HMP and Mandalorian 30 Questions, Justin Strawn and him and Ryan Nelson. They host that show. They talk all about movies and stuff like that and make up some cocktails and stuff, so that's a good one. Of course, we got our buddies over at the All-American Spook Show. I've been on that a ton. They cover a lot of horror and genre stuff like that. Been friends with those guys for like 20 years at this point. And you know the name. You hear it all the time. But have you heard the podcast? We have been watching with your boy Marty and Rob, both amazing guys. I think they both support a show as well. They cover so much on their podcast and in a fairly short amount of time, which I actually find kind of amazing.
If there was an award for the most charming podcast, it probably would go to that one.
They are. If you want to hear just like, two I don't want to even call them elderly statesmen. They're almost just like they're great. They're awesome. They're awesome guys.
Yeah, they're just British Gen X guys.
There you go. Yeah. That's the best way to really put it. And I'm going to be really honest with you here. I don't like to say this out loud, but their TikTok game actually has me jealous. Both of them are putting out really good stuff.
Yeah.
And
I can second that.
It's making me feel like I'm lazy, and it's kind of inspired me to do some more content. So check out We Have Been Watching. Check out all the podcasts. Let them know that HMP sent you. And again, thank you to those guys and everyone who supports the show over at patreon.com/HMP. All right, everybody. Here is the trailer for Police Academy 2, Their First Assignment.
Lock your doors. Activate the dog. Stand up the man. Stretch the wire, because they've taken to the streets. They're the graduates of Police Academy, turned loose on their first assignment.
You gotta build a trust between you and the people, and they'll respect you.
They're armed.
Now look, I'm serious.
And they're dangerous.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mahoney.
You have the right to sing the blues. You have the right to cable TV.
It's a nice piece.
Tackleberry.
I was referring to your sidearm.
Hightower.
Yo! Yo? Yo, sir!
Jones. Hooks. Captain Lassard. Commandant Lassard. And the lovable Lieutenant Mauser.
It's Captain Mauser.
Last year, they were in training.
Time to deploy for school.
I'll go when I'm ready.
You're ready now, mister.
This year, they're in charge. Police Academy, their first assignment.
Alrighty, that was the trailer for Police Academy 2. And don't you like those trailers where they just go so that's over, but you know what's not over?
That is like a 1955 health class documentary about the movie Police Academy 2.
And it just ended on the projector there.
It's time for Bruce's Comic Book Connection.
Oh, let's see what he's got up his sleeve this week.
Well, there were 6 issues of Police Academy comics.
But of course there were.
they were based on, though, not the Police Academy movies, but based on the Police Academy animated television series that ran from 1988 to 1989 and got 65 episodes. Some beautiful, beautiful animation, which was followed up 8 years later by 26 live action episodes. But anyway, it was that animated Police Academy TV series that was the inspiration for the comic book rather than the movie. but it was published by Marvel Comics underneath their Star Comics storyline, which is most famous for having the comics like Alf, the Care Bears. Those were Star Comics. And then also, I think, was there a Bob Newhart comic? I feel like there was, and it was with Star.
I could see it.
But anyway, they did get 6 issues of Police Academy. I don't know who wrote these, but they were penciled by Howard Post, who's a legitimate working penciler. I mean, he's he's somebody. He's not just a guy who did this one thing.
He's somebody's child. Leave him be.
Yes. Every one of them has a mutter. Man, that's it. I mean, yeah, this is a great story for comic books. Like if Star Comics, if Marvel wants to revive that Star Comics line, I can give them 26 issues, no problem. I mean, a script, I can't draw, but I'll script them out 26 issues of Police Academy. Here's the secret, Sean. I write 3 scripts and just keep changing the numbers on them.
Yeah, that's basically it. Yeah.
I get paid as if I had actually written more stories.
It's the Little Rascals, but with cops. That's literally what these movies are.
Oh, man, I'm going to get all the Little Rascals comics, which there are a bunch of, and just transfer them to the America's crying for a relaunch of the Police Academy comic. I'll get some of Steve Gutenberg's blood to go into the ink,
I think that's why they couldn't get them on that's why it's not based on the movie. They couldn't get the rights. Old Gutenberg's a little bit stingy with those face rights going out there everywhere, so... That's why you didn't get the toys.
That is, I guess that was. Do you have a list?
Well,
Man, I don't even know how to end this. Can you tell that I didn't have any notes on that one, Sean? I've been a little busy.
Pretty good.
It's fine. Well, if that wasn't enough, let me sell everybody on this first Police Academy sequel because this sucker's got everything. We got a Clint Eastwood cameo. Bet you didn't remember that one from this movie. I sure didn't. We got a security system that I would say is a little bit overkill for a chandelier store. Bobcat Goldthwait is the head of the best gang you've ever seen. We got the teacher from Head of the Class. We got Steve Where's My Money Gutenberg, a football star from the 80s who's not OJ. We got the mousy lady from Part 1, Larry Drake's stunt double, a 28-year-old version who looks 48, and Michael Please Laugh Winslow. We've got crappy police work and egging, overfeeding fish, Wayne from the Wonder Years, smoke bombing mirrors. Smoke bombing miners, excuse me. Live Foley work, gratuitous chowder buckets. Hey, it was the 80s, right? Lady motorcycle cop. What do they think of next? Fiery cars, dangling dental floss, squalor. I like this one. This was my thought. There's a lot of squalor in this. Would you look at that? A Nestle's Crunch Bar. Barely ever been touched. That's probably because it's a Nestle's Crunch Bar. They smell like rat turds. Go eat one. They're disgusting. We got a shootout at
version of Chris Penn.
That's very true. I wanted to put that in here, but I didn't know how many people would get that. Shootout at the lamp store. Supermarket sweep for aluminum foil and deodorant spray. Tackleberry virginity talk. Dog fetch humor. Car hood humor. Rubber glove humor, tactical humor, goldfish humor. We got the old shampoo switcheroo, wigwear and the punk aesthetic. I think that was a band name I wanted to put together. Winning the high jump award for the best sound effects goes to, you guessed it, Michael Winslow. In the 80s, you know that there's going to be a gay biker scene somewhere in this movie. We got smooth jazz, a Murphy bed boot knocking, dinner and a show with hibachi. We got a giant fair, a golden broom, so you know they're going to sweep up the crime for good. We got the family that psychs together, stays together. Special appearance from Mr. Microphone, going undercover. Sound effects, the most useful deterrent against crime. ADR galore. And where you been, Hooks? It's almost as if we've forgotten about your character altogether. And that in a monster truck wedding, this movie's got everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's... I just got to say, and then we can roll into this because I know that you awesomely stepped up and did the job of making the notes there. But I do want to say they're like so prescient because at the time they made this, they're like, we just need something to be Tackleberry's personality because we don't know what a real personality is. We just give people things.
Yes.
So they made him a gun nut way before a gun nut is now like such an appropriate character, like way more appropriate now than it was then. This movie is so prescient. We're going to go into how it predicted the future over and over again.
Man, it kind of does. I mean, honestly, it does.
Not lying. Yeah.
And there's also a bunch of stuff about this movie where you're like, oh, right. 80s comedy. Right. Totally forgot. So there's a lot of stuff where you're like,
what was your we talked a little bit about it, off air and everything, but what are you guys' experiences with Police Academy, the series as a whole, and specifically this movie as well?
When I said this was my pickle, Rick, I mean, Police Academy, Top Secret was ahead of Police Academy in terms of those, but it's probably Top Secret. Then the Police Academy franchise as a whole lifts it above Airplane with me. But Police Academy was definitely the thing that instead of having personalities, me and my friends could just quote Police Academy at each other. And it was serious. I mean, I seriously can tell you which is the best and when to stop watching. And I know which character development you don't care about and which you do. It's amazing. I've seen Michael Winslow perform live. That's how dedicated I am.
That's pretty dedicated.
I mean, he did come to Huntington. It wasn't like I had to go anywhere, but still, I had to get out of bed and go.
Hey, listen, when you're Michael Winslow, you go to where the action is. You know what I'm saying? And that's Huntington, West Virginia.
It was a very fun show.
Yes, I mean, he is delivering on what you want from a Michael Winslow show for sure.
Yeah, you buy a Michael Winslow ticket, you know what you're in for when you go. So yeah,
I think it's reached the point where I firmly believe it doesn't have to be Michael Winslow to do the show, but you know what? His name gets the crowd there.
Yeah. For me, I watched 1, 2, and 3 of Police Academy, and I watched maybe like the first 10 minutes. Is the one word Spade is in it? Is that 4?
You're talking about David Spade?
Yeah.
I don't recall him. 4 Citizens on Patrol, which some will argue maybe the best Police Academy movie.
What's the one where the 2 guys get their heads shaved at the beginning of the movie?
That's the first one.
Well, that's the first one, but Spade is in. Well, there's one with Spade later.
Yeah, I don't think it's in Citizens on Patrol, which once again, Citizens on Patrol, probably the best Police Academy movie, which is pretty high praise.
So, but it's funny because when you watch these movies, right? Like the first one, they put a lot of money into that one. I mean, I know now it's kind of cheap looking, but there is a far more money in the first Police Academy movie than there is even in the second one.
Oh, for sure. There's so little money on this. Right. It is ridiculous. Number 4 is where David Spade shows up.
I thought it was 4. Yeah.
Well, the first one I think made about as much money as all the sequels combined.
It would make sense. It's the best one. So like, this was one of those movies where, as a kid, I thought it was really funny. But the older I got, the less funny Police Academy got. It's sort of like the way that I was towards the Little Rascals and like Three Stooges. Like it was the same on that same level.
Now, I will say this in Police Academy's defense, but it's not necessarily a compliment, but it ages exactly like I remembered it. Like I would say that it ages well in that it was exactly how I remembered, which isn't always the case.
We'll get started here in a second, but I saw Police Academy 2 in the movie theater as a little kid, and then I watched it today, and those are the 2 times I've watched Police Academy 2.
I think because in 1984 I was 2, and then in 1985 when Police Academy 2 comes out I am 3, so I'm not watching most of anything at that point.
Sure.
But it's funny that you mentioned it, Bruce, because in a big way, I was brought about to Police Academy very much from that cartoon.
Wow!
I was the kid. Yeah, so
you're the one,
exactly.
The only one.
No, but see, the 80s were a weird place because they would make cartoons from R-rated products like
Rambo and RoboCop.
I mean, and I watched those shows. I loved them. They were really great, and it was just like they advertised
Red
these
Shoe
to
Diaries animated hour.
Yeah, that was a special one. That was the Adult Swim, I think, it was first program. But I was just I'd known a lot from the cartoon and everything, and obviously had seen the first movie, and obviously, you catch a little bit here and there. Those in the Charlotte area, WJCY was playing A Police Academy almost all the time. You just turn it on and flip on a Saturday. There's one of these Police Academy sequels streaming at some point, and I feel like I saw bits and pieces of them there, but I don't know that I've really seen much outside of the first one, to be quite honest.
Me and my friends played Police Academy a lot, and we're talking. We're 10 years old. It's not like little kids playing Police Academy. So we were playing Police Academy just as violently as we would play pro wrestling or like Star Wars or superheroes.
Uh-huh.
And I can still remember that, it's on the playground and everybody claims a character. And I usually wound up as Sweet Chuck.
Yeah. Am I wrong? Was this the first Sweet Chuck?
It is the first Sweet Chuck.
Okay, because that's what I thought.
Sweet Chuck. Is this the first Zed, or did Zed show up briefly?
No, this is the first Zed also.
Now, that was my next question, because I obviously knew he was
always a star in my mind because of this role.
Yes, this is what made him incredibly famous, this movie.
But I always, I knew he was in the other one, like as a cop and everything. So when I saw him show up in this one, I thought it would almost be like they would put a badge on him by the end. I really was thinking that was going to happen. No, that's when it comes
around in part 4. That's why Citizens on Patrol is the best of the Police Academy films, because all these people come full circle.
Yeah.
So let's get started.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was started, but just not in order.
So we open on the man who we will eventually know as Sweet Chuck closing up his antique shop. And we start getting the thing that every movie in the 80s seems to have, where everyone, everywhere, always thinks they're going to be robbed and murdered. So we see him setting alarms and setting huge fat deadbolts on doors, and there's even a robot dog. So shout out and sky point to our boy Chomps, because Sweet Chuck is closing up the shop for the night. He gets about 20 steps away from his door, and a gang that looks like it just finished its American tour of Cats rolls up on him, and their leader is none other than one of the most talented comedians that everyone seems to forget is funny, Bobcat Goldthwait. He and his gang rob Sweet Chuck of $8, and Bobcat can't believe he only has $8. And Sweet Chuck says, business is slow. Have either of you guys ever seen Bobcat perform stand-up?
I've never seen him live.
It is so defeating, and here's why. He is an amazing stand-up comic. I've seen him at various stages of his career perform stand-up. He is an amazing stand-up comic. The reason why it's so defeating is because he hates it. He even says it from stage how much he hates performing stand-up comedy.
I've heard him talk about that, but he has to do it.
And he is amazing at it. He is so funny. He starts, at least I haven't seen him in a few years, but the middle show that I saw him in, which is probably 15 years ago now, he would start with the Bobcat voice.
Yeah.
He'd do it for about 2 minutes, 3 minutes. And then he'd go, is that enough of that voice? Can I use my regular voice now?
And I got to say, as a kid, I 100% just bought into it. Like with pro wrestling, I believe the Iron Sheik was exactly who he said he was. And I believe this is Bob Goldthwait's voice when I was a kid.
I actually have not seen Bobcat do stand-up, but I've actually seen him talk. Believe it or not, we went to like an early screening in Charlotte of Call Me Lucky, his documentary about Barry Crimmins, and it was great. He showed up and kind of talked and everything, and it was pretty sweet. He was a nice guy.
So settle this for me, guys, because you're the two guys whose opinions I trust the most on this. Is Bob Goldthwait's character here in Police Academy 2 the reason Zed's dead, baby? In Quentin
without a doubt.
Movie.
There's no way that it's not.
Because I've had people that don't believe me. They think I'm just being a stupid Bruce.
No, it's totally from this.
Oh my gosh, I'm writing this down. Stupid Bruce is the next T-shirt idea.
Those stupid, handsome Riverdale kids.
We then cut to a police precinct where the crime is so bad that when a cop gets out of his car, everyone in the immediate area starts pelting him with eggs. And he walks inside and tells the precinct captain that if he doesn't turn his precinct around in 30 days, he's going to get fired. By the way, we are 10 minutes into this comedy movie, and with the exception of Sweet Chuck opening up a bear trap that's actually part of his security system, there is not a single joke that has been told yet.
He does put a picture of Dirty Harry in the window.
Right. Is that
hilarious?
A joke?
I had to take a deep breath before I could say it out loud without cracking up.
Okay.
Just get it together.
I didn't even realize that it was written as a joke, so that was supposed to be funny.
I don't know. It looked like it was part of the
I'm not talking about their jokes are misfiring. I'm talking about there wasn't a joke even written.
Yeah, no,
like you don't think him putting a picture of Dirty Harry with a gun and saying that's his security system is intended as a joke?
He has like 17 different steps to his security system.
Yeah,
this is like another ludicrous step. This is his version of Kevin McAllister with the dancing mannequins there.
No, it's not even close. That's like clever and fun and funny.
This was we had a poster of Eastwood in the back.
Oh no, we're gonna have a disagreement over what I call the Beaux-Arts de comédie.
Oh my Lord, don't you start with me, sir.
Because
don't you dare start with me.
There's something beautiful about what's being done here. Because you know what, 11-year-olds who only get access to one movie a year need to laugh until they pass out.
So it turns out that the precinct captain is the teacher from Head of the Class. Yes, he was also on WKRP in Cincinnati, but I wouldn't find that out until much, much later. I knew him as the teacher from Head of the Class.
Yeah, that's what I always knew. But I mean,
Johnny Fever was a pretty big deal in my house when I was like 4 years old. And Howard Hessman, one of my all-time favorite actors as a kid, because there were two things in life that were certain. Like my life was not great as a child. I had a few aspirations, but the two things that I really knew that I loved was like I kind of wanted to be a radio DJ, and I really enjoyed my gifted program at my school. And man, sure. Howard Hessman is like boom, right in both of those.
Both things, man. That's a sweet spot for you.
Yeah,
and he just looked the same forever.
Yeah, he did until he didn't. But yeah, you're right. There was like 30 years where he looked exactly the same.
Just walking the stairs. I was the same dude. Holy moly!
And a lot of people don't appreciate just how gloriously long his hair got when he was making Head of the Class, because he was kind of keeping it in a man bun way before that was a cool thing to do.
It's true. So the precinct captain was the teacher on Head of the Class. His last name is Lassard, and he ends up calling his brother, who is Commandant Lassard, who's in charge of the police academy from the last movie. And this is where we get our first real joke of the movie, where there's some gay panic happening, which, by the way, if you're offended by gay panic jokes, don't watch ever
the 80s.
Ever watch the Police Academy movies,
or a lot of movies from the 80s period.
I was gonna say, what was that movie where like from 2000, like a Shane Black movie where a character's name was the F word for a gay?
Oh yeah, you're right. No,
anyway.
It's Gay Paris. Gay Paris. Yeah. Anyway, Police Academy movies, right? And also, if you're watching comedies made in the 80s, it's people. There's a couple of things you need to know. One is that in the 80s, everyone was afraid of waves of criminals breaking into their house. They're also afraid that their children were listening to Satan's music. The Japanese were coming to steal everyone's jobs, and the gays totally wanted to have sex with you. All right. So
all of those things came true as well. I mean, I'm telling you, Bruce was right.
But I'll tell you, when we start breaking it down in a minute, I'm going to show that this may be the most progressive film franchise from the 80s.
He's going to give you the trauma defense. Oh, here we go. I'm excited.
So things get cleared up with this word mishap, and Lassard says to his brother, I'm sending you six of my best recruits. We then get some quick vignettes of all of our favorites. There's the guy who wants to shoot everybody. We watch him tear gas a kid. The guy who makes all the noises with his mouth.
Not just any kid, though. Jason Hervey from the Wonder Years fame.
Yeah.
That kid was literally in everything in the 80s. What happened to him? Like, where is he now?
He is about 60 years old and still looks like a very annoying middle school kid, so it's hard to get work.
Oh, wow.
Pee-wee's Big Adventure, he was in that. I think if the 80s needed a bratty kid, man, they just called him up because he had that, like, it's classic punchable kid look.
But I think I did hear, once again, like a radio interview 20 years ago, and he made it sound like he actually saved a whole lot of his money and his parents didn't rip him off, and he's fortunate that he doesn't have to work.
He doesn't have to
good
work.
For
wow.
him.
Wow.
Yeah, so he's like, I mean, he said, I didn't retire from acting, but I didn't have to go get another job when the calls quit coming.
That's amazing. And also it sounds like he's normal and not like crazy Christian guy. That's awesome.
And once again, it's always the ones that are the biggest jerkwads on screen that usually have their stuff together.
I always think he's
usually.
like that kid in Pee-wee's Big Adventure where he just goes, "I was here at first call. I am ready. Roll."
I think you're talking about Buxton
favorite.
for a minute.
So the guy who makes all the noises with his mouth makes a couple of nerdy whites flip out at a food court. And then we get Steve Guttenberg charming the bikini bottoms off of hot chicks at the beach while Goots is driving a sweet ATV.
Don't have to tell you why 11-year-old Bruce loved this vignette.
Here's the thing. That would, like, this scene, it would have made me want to be a cop as a kid. It's like, I get to ride a three-wheeler around the beach, jamming out to music and high-fiving people. Yes.
And a non sequitur I just want to add is that Punky Brewster really only had 2 years of network production, even though we all remember it as a show that was on forever. This must have been one of those 2 years, though, because suddenly George Gaines is not available, so they had to bring in Howard Hessman.
So you're probably asking yourself, is Steve Guttenberg high-fiving righteous dudes? You're damn right he is. He's high-fiving all the righteous dudes. And then all of a sudden, somebody who might be driving the coolest truck ever made starts tearing up the beach, and Goots asks him to stop, and the guy says, "No way, fuzzball." Which makes me think that maybe this movie might have originally been an R-rated movie with that and with all the ADR that's in this movie.
Ton of ADR. I didn't say that in my thing. But
are you saying this was
ADR
not
fest.
an R movie that we watched?
No, it's PG-13.
It had a grand total of 4 chowder buckets, so you could be PG-14.
We got 4 chowder buckets. We got
back
at
then.
least 1 F-bomb.
Yep.
I mean, and we're not talking just buckets. We can actually see the little clam in there.
We're right there, and it's
there's no like being coy with it. They're like, you got good light on that. You need to bring some more cameras over.
They're like, the light's falling off here. Quick, get a reflector in. That's a little movie's humor.
Yeah, PG-13.
Wow.
Goots chases after this guy, and the world's most beautiful truck gets destroyed almost immediately by falling into the ocean.
Do you notice,
and
though,
Goots,
all of a sudden, during that trip, so, like, he's got, like, passengers, and then all of a sudden, when the chase commenced, the passengers are gone.
Yes, that is true.
That's weird.
Do you guys think maybe Bill Murray stole a lot of his shtick from Goots in this movie?
No, it's the other way around.
What are you talking about?
Oh.
Yes.
I think everything he did in Stripes he got from Goots in this movie.
But he had done.
But Bill Murray had already been Bill Murray for forever at this point.
Also, Stripes is like 4 years before this movie.
I was going to say, because he's also in Meatballs, and he's completely doing the same thing in Meatballs.
I was going to say I threw you a softball. I'm pretty sure Stripes is like 81.
You
and this
threw
is
him
85.
a meatball. Come on, man. It was right there in front of your face. He literally just said it.
Woody to Wabbit.
So Goots chases after the world's most beautiful truck, and it instantly gets destroyed by falling into the ocean. And Goots has his sweet revenge when he says the line, "Never mess with a fuzzball."
Woo! Got him.
Totally got him.
And when he reads their rights, he adds things that aren't actually Miranda rights. It's hilarious.
We cut back to the worst precinct in LA, and for reasons I don't understand, the precinct captain has a huge 2-foot by 4-foot poster of his brother's face hanging on the wall.
Just so you know, because they understand the audience of Police Academy, not too bright.
So, yes, it's Commandant Lassard from the first Police Academy, and yes, it's his brother, but why would anyone hang a poster of their brother's face in their office anyway? Our favorite police misfits are all back in the same room. You got Goots, you got Mouth Guy, Gun Guy, small black lady with a mousy voice who screams at least once in the movie, a former football player, and a small white guy with glasses that is clearly the weak link of the team. And they all get their assignments. They need to stop the gang that's taking over the city. All of the cops from Police Academy get partnered up with a veteran cop. And there's 2 things we haven't spoken about yet. One, the bad guys in this movie are a cop and his lackey that want to see Captain Lassard get fired so he can be the new captain. And the second thing, is just how unbelievably cool Bubba Smith is in these movies.
He is the best.
He is so cool, and I know that Goots is supposed to be the cool one, but he isn't. Bubba Smith is the coolest person in these movies.
He doesn't even look like he's affected by anything. Like he, it just feels like this is his role. Like he just kind of walks in and it's just like he is that dude.
Yeah.
Low bar again. But the best moment of pure acting in this movie comes from Bubba Smith when he kind of adjusts his tie as all the leather daddies are staring at him.
It's like, oh my!
I really believed he was having this moment of like, I'm flattered and uncomfortable. And considering a new experience, like all of those things are on his face.
No, 100%. It's everything. It's all the emotions.
We cut to a seamstress played by a very, very young Julie Brown, and she is immediately
not the downtown one, by the way. The other
not the one with literally no talent. That was
the
good
one who
looking.
dated Vanilla Ice.
What are you talking about, dear? I'm on the XM all the time, just saying words. Yeah. That's what she does.
The funny Julie Brown, the good Julie Brown, the one who's like creative and smart and writes movies and jokes and is great. Anyway, she is immediately sexually assaulted by the Goots, and Mouth Guy starts screwing with the veteran cop he was assigned to. Gun Guy meets his partner, and can you believe it? It's a girl. A pretty girl.
Can we break something down for just a moment?
Please.
It's a short little breakdown. I don't want to derail you. But what was in it for the Goots with the whole balloon gag? Like what does he consider a victory scenario? What does that look like in his balloon in the crotch gambit?
I think we saw it. I think that's it. It was
the full extent of what he was aiming for was just to annoy a woman.
And maybe get a laugh
he's
out.
Being funny and charming.
Yeah, he's getting a laugh out of it. Like I think we've all known people.
So he's not because I got to tell you, 11-year-old Bruce imprinted on me, and no opinions have changed. I still think he believes if he convinces her that that's his real anatomy, that she'll go out with him. But eventually he's going to have to come clean and she's going to be disappointed. So you're better off as just friends if it's going to be like that.
That's not at all what the reality of even that scene is.
But here, you want to know what's
even the intelligence of the characters in the scene aren't that. You do understand that, right? 12-year-old Bruce?
Maybe now I do, but back then I really, I really thought that was what I needed to do to get a girlfriend.
Oh boy.
This almost sounds like a Dick Van Dyke episode.
Fast forward 12 years, finally somebody took the balloon away and I got my first date.
So, there's like this movie is just a running scene. It's not really montages. It's more like just little vignettes. Like every bit of this movie is just vignette.
This is the kind of movie that a very young Seth MacFarlane was watching. And this is what lays down the kind of neuro processing that leads to things like Family Guy and leads to things like Vines. You know what I mean? It is that.
So the weak link in Glasses and his partner get their squad car set on fire. Goots meets
his partner's Ed Hurley, isn't he?
No, he's not. I know.
Okay.
You're talking about the dude who takes the big bite out of the burger in Dumb and Dumber, right?
Well, I'm just talking about Ed Hurley, who's in
I don't know who Ed Hurley.
Officer Dooley.
I don't know who that is.
Okay. Well, maybe I don't either then.
Who are you speaking to?
Officer.
Who are you speaking to?
Who's Officer Dooley? I don't know what any of these things are.
Yeah, what is that? Hey, you derailed this train. Put it back on course. Who is that?
You know the really old racist fat cop?
You're going to have to narrow it down.
No,
that's a great joke.
Winslow's partner is Ed Hurley. I was thinking he was teamed up with the other guy, but he was Michael Winslow's partner.
Oh,
it's like, listen, boy, as long as you do this. But he was like an old radio personality, like in the 50s. So I thought you guys might know Ed Hurley.
No.
Man. Okay. So all Ed Hurley things aside, we will move on So
he was Francis's father in Pee-wee's Big Adventure. That's
okay.
Thank you.
Now we get it. Now we give a crap. Congratulations. That's how you do it.
You know, he did local radio in the 50s.
No one knows that. Oh, he's Pee-wee. He's Buxton's dad. Okay, jeez Louise, man.
Hey, he used to do commercials for. He used to be the spokesman for crackers in the 30s.
He did the first newsreels that told America that Japan had bombed Pearl Harbor. So
man, see, and we are so stupid that we didn't know that, Bruce. I'm sorry. Man, I am really dumb that I didn't know that. I feel terrible right now.
He was in Hannah and Her Sisters.
Hannah. That's how you have to say it that way.
Did
I say Hannah?
No. No, that's an atomism.
Okay.
So Goots meets his partner, who isn't just a disgusting, messy slob.
Oh my gosh,
but he also has the audacity to be in a movie and be fat. How gross is this guy? Are you
honestly not all that fat?
But he is movie fat.
Yeah.
He's also 1984, 85 fat, which is very different than modern.
It's a very different fat. Yeah, the country had not been part of the lore of Honey Boo Boo yet.
No Mama Junes to be seen.
None yet. So, how gross is this fat, disgusting slob? Here's how disgusting he is. His cat pooped in his cereal, and the guy yells at the cat for pooping in it, takes the poop out and throws it at the cat, and then continues to eat his cereal.
Yep. And then offers some to the Goots.
This is what happens when a dirty baby gets their own apartment.
Man. Not this dirty baby.
A lot of this stuff has to have some kind of underlying ethnography. And I think the gross guy, Schulman or whatever his name is what a California person thinks a New Yorker is. I honestly
there you go. That makes sense. That makes sense. You're right.
Because it's like they film this in LA, but they go to what looks like a Brooklyn set to go to his apartment, you know.
But they're definitely supposed to be in LA, right?
Yes.
So
I mean, there's not a big beach scene if you're in Brooklyn.
Right. So right. So this big fat disgusting cop finds a candy bar on the ground with ants all over it and eats it. You know, actually, when it comes to the disgusting guy, it's mostly just about food, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what gets you. I mean, you get a little bit of the nasty house he lives in, and then from there, it's really just eating candy bars off the ground.
Right,
it's the only move.
It's just disgusting.
All that said, though, of the quote unquote veteran cops that have all been set up with, he's the only one who's cool.
You know what? He is cool.
I mean, in comparison,
there easy to overlook, but true.
The other guys are screaming at him and yelling at him. At least this guy's like he's cool and he's down with whatever kind of bullcrap adventure that they want to put together.
You're right. And because he's with the Goots, like you really do think like oh, this guy's probably going to be along for the ride forever.
Yeah,
just like the weak link with glasses guy who's like in every Police Academy movie, because what else does he have to do? Even though he's not good in the movies even. Okay, anyway, so we cut to an alley where two kids are throwing around a football when two guys who look like they just got an audition for a musical about biker gangs show up and start roughing them up. And then Bubba Smith shows up and without even trying scares the hell out of them by throwing a football at one of the musical theater chums so hard that it's like he's being pulled by wires and he hits a garage door.
That was a Robert Rodriguez hit, 100%.
Yes, without a doubt.
Can we please speak to the wonderful scene that we get here? First off, what do you call that whole rig where you like tie the thing and then it like pulls you back really hard and then you go into the cushion to do that effect?
It's just a wire harness.
Well, I need one of those just for funsies. I mean, I don't need it to make any movies or anything. I just want to like play practical jokes on the kids. And my wife hit me and I go flying back and she tells them to go clean the room and they go do it.
I saw a TikTok of a dude who had like this bungee cord and he pulled back on it. He was riding a skateboard and on this ledge going upstairs. He ollied upstairs because he like pulled this bungee cord back, shot himself off on the skateboard, ollied upstairs. It was one of the most amazing things I've ever seen in my life.
That's really cool.
I was just how did he get that fast? Because they don't quite show the launch. They just show him ollieing up like 10 stairs. And you're like, how in the hell is this possible? And then you see that he launched himself. And you're like, that's badass.
Could I just tie the rope to my daughter's car and have her hit the gas?
Oh, yeah. I've seen Back to the Future.
You can definitely do that. You can definitely do. You won't have the same results, but you can definitely do that.
It'll be quick.
You don't want to rain on my parade, do you? Okay, so this scene in the alleyway.
Yeah.
And this is a person who 100% would think restructuring this and playing it as straight drama makes sense. That would be Tommy Wiseau.
Yes.
Because they throw the football underhanded. This is it's supposed to be played as drama, but it is the exact same performances. Costuming is so close to one another.
The set almost looks the same because it's just another crummy, just really setty looking set. It's bad.
Yes.
Yeah, it's bad.
And I think, man, I'm watching because I just happened to be re-listening to the audiobook of The Disaster Artist. So I've got Tommy Wiseau in my mind again, and I see this, and I think this has to be like his inspiration for that weird football scene.
I wish they were all in tuxes. That'd have been hilarious.
I don't think that man had ever watched a movie before he made one.
No. He'd just come to this planet when he produced that gem.
You're taking me apart.
Right.
We're in the alley. We just finished up with the football.
In the alley. We cut back to the antique shop where two guys from the same biker-themed musical show up to torment Sweet Chuck again. And one of the gang members says the line, "Open the safe, old man," even though I did look it up. Tim Kazurinsky was 35 years old when he made this movie.
but, very ancient to me at the time.
Oh, sure. But I mean, Tim Kazurinsky, if you look at a picture of him now, he looks amazing because he did look old as Sweet Chuck.
Yeah. Well, the design on his kind of costume and everything is good because it does. It belies a much older age for sure.
Yes. So in a hilarious scene, the cops keep showing up and shooting at each other as the gang members who in a few years will be in Michael Jackson's Bad video eventually get away. We cut to a grocery store where Bobcat and his gang are terrorizing that grocery store. And Bobcat is so awesome in this movie. Bobcat is far better than this movie deserves. And this is when I realized two things about Police Academy movies during this scene. One, when people think of Police Academy, as I said to you guys earlier, when people think of Police Academy, they're actually thinking about this sequel and all the other sequels. And because this is the movie where they actually found the formula for Police Academy, where like everybody is like they got their own little thing they got to do.
Mm-hmm.
And two, Police Academy movies are the closest thing to a modern Little Rascals because, like I said earlier, each cop has that one thing that they do. And then you have the Spanky of the group who is Goots. And Goots is, like charming and doing most of the talking. And it's like Michael Winslow is in almost every scene of this movie. Besides noises being made, how many lines of dialogue does he have? 3?
I was about to say maybe 3, 4.
And it's as a child, I was a lot more forgiving. But now, like if you're gonna try to make Michael Winslow a thing, at least have the balls to not AVR all of his noises.
It's true.
Because that kind of bugged me. That's like, what's the point then? Like anybody could be doing that.
Well, also the fun part is that you really have to suspend a lot of disbelief because there's a lot of implied throwing of voices with a lot of the stuff that he does. Because it's like, I mean, think back to the first one when they do the little intercom thing. If someone is in a room doing that, it's gonna like you're standing right beside this man. You don't hear that coming out of this man's face.
And
Ridiculous.
I know people were impressed in 1984, but be honest with me, Adam. Let's say by 1994, didn't you know people who could make sound effects as good or better than Winslow? Like I think
it's
he
not
could only be famous for the time he became famous.
But it's not just about that. It's about the amount of noises he can make, right?
Yeah.
Like that's kind of the thing with him, is that everybody can do one or two Michael Winslow things. It's the fact that Michael Winslow, I mean, look, yeah, he's been doing the same thing for 40 years now, but like he has probably 30 sound effect noises that he can do just with his mouth that are he's the best at doing it.
Yeah.
And that's
he's better now too. Well, I don't know about now, but he got better than where he was when this movie was made. I should say it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Like this isn't peak Winslow sound making either.
I mean, at least he's made a thing out of something and gone quite a career out of it, if we're quite honest with ourselves.
Yeah.
And still continuing to tour and on it to this very day.
And I don't mean to dump on the guy, because the guy is incredibly, incredibly nice. And he's been incredibly nice to me in the past. Like, I think that when you are Michael Winslow, and this is what you do, then you keep giving the people what they expect from a Michael Winslow show.
Yeah, if he showed up and doing Mark Maron's
I'm gonna change it up.
A night of jazz standards with Michael Winslow.
Well, what I'm talking about is like when Gallagher got tired of hitting things hitting watermelons with a gigantic mallet. Like he's like, I'm going to get political about this. And it was, like, no one is here to get your skew on politics, Gallagher. Smash that watermelon.
I mean, it's the classic story of a guy that gets booked for stand-up shows doing something other than stand-up that thinks he's a stand-up after a while.
Right.
The permanent corporate stand-up.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. That's the perfect way to put it. So, this is where I'm going to start needing some help from you guys, because I just ran out of time. I do have
Leslie reporting for duty.
I do have a bit of breakdown happening here, but like I'm going to miss a couple of things, and you guys are going to have, if you want to talk about something, fill it in.
I will clarify something that you may have found confusing, but the character Jughead was actually Gutenberg in a different role.
Okay.
Oh my God, this movie makes so much more sense now. It's like I had to watch Tenet 5 times before I got it. It's like this is the same thing.
And I do want to talk a little bit about something progressive here. The leather daddies are treated as heroes.
They don't like
the bad guys.
You're right.
They beat up the bad guys. The police defend them and don't harass them. And that's pretty darn progressive for 85. They aren't really that much of the punchline. And one of the cops is clearly a member of their community and like still an active cop.
It's true. And I do love the music that starts up when we hit that bar.
that what do you call that? Like cha-cha? It's not cha-cha. What do you call it? Rumba or something?
Bossa Nova.
Yeah, I love that. Bum bum butter bum.
So we then cut to one of the 2, maybe 3 most famous scenes from this movie in particular, where Goots and the police academy gang get so upset at the bad guy cop for giving them all bad assignments that they switch out his shampoo bottle with super glue, and he gets his hand stuck to his head and his eyes are closed shut, and he walks out into the lobby of the police station.
Completely naked.
Can I say something?
Naked.
That's kind of shocking. It's like
nobody offers to put a towel around him.
No,
nothing.
I was shocked at how decent a build this man actually had.
12-year-old Bruce totally convinced that's exactly how that would play out.
So the captain then gets mugged and spray painted by the gang, and the bad cop starts wearing a wig. And one of the few scenes that actually made me laugh out loud. Really great setup for that scene. Like watching him with that wig on was he plays it. The actor plays it so well. It's really funny.
And they don't consistently make a huge deal of it or anything. It is just this funny thing that everybody just kind of goes with, and we're just like, well, that's what his hair is now.
Yeah.
So after the captain gets basically lynched by the gang, the cops start to rally. They start arresting people. They're slowly getting better at their job. The cops who make sounds with his mouth pretends that he's in an overdub martial arts movie. And here's the thing about this, right? He pretends he's in an overdub martial arts movie. And I didn't realize this until I watched this today, that this is the scene that comedians would be ripping off.
Oh yeah,
for the next 25 years.
Michael Winslow is the guy who did this that everyone does, 100%.
And it is literally like I don't know how famous this movie is at this point, but this is the thing that everyone stole from. There's people who made an entire movie career there's people who there's comedians who made an entire movie based on this joke.
See, that is what's amazing to me is, yes, this is very, very uninspired, broad humor. It's got a cutaway style. It's like they just took all the rough edges off of Kentucky Fried Movie and found a way to make it work.
Right.
But it's still so influential, man. There's so many people of a certain age that this was all they had that summer to laugh at.
Yeah, this is literally the thing that launched 1,000 ships. This scene. I love Kentucky Fried Movie as well, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
There's something completely different about having Michael Winslow specifically do it with his mouth as that's a take-home joke. I can remember being a kid and doing the same joke.
Yeah, me too, man.
Michael Winslow
is way awesomer at it than you, but
probably. You probably were. I'm going to say yes. So things go bad, and the captain comes up with a plan that Gooch should go undercover and try to get recruited by the gang. And we get the scene I was waiting for. We get a scene where Gooch and Bobcat meet each other, and Bobcat absolutely steals the movie from Gooch at this line, or in this scene. And Bobcat says the line, "Don't make me flare my nostrils."
Man, he has some good lines that have to be coming right off of his dome, right? Nobody who writes this movie is capable of that.
Without a doubt, man. Like half of Bobcat scenes are Bobcat jokes.
Yeah.
There's no
I'm a vegetarian. That one came out of nowhere.
Yes, just amazing. Just really funny bits where he's crying while he's watching TV. And it turns out he's watching Love American Style or something.
No, it's A Family Affair, and he says it's a rerun. This is in 1985 when A Family Affair went off the air in 61.
It's so good. It's
and he's
so
watching it with no explanation from a car, like it's at a drive-in.
It's so great. I love little tiny points like that. All of that layer and stuff is really great.
But whenever somebody is wants to say something crappy about Bobcat around me, I always have to tell them Bobcat is really funny. You are short sheeting that man, because that dude is awesome. Not only is that dude awesome, he's more awesome than you think, because like I said with the stand-up thing, he's an amazing stand-up comic who hates doing stand-up comedy. That's the best.
And a constant director for years, directing some really great stuff, and probably one of the best Robin Williams performances of all time.
Yeah. Yep. It's true.
Oh, Father of the Year. Was that the one?
Yep.
Yeah, man.
Man, that's a tough movie.
Not a fun watch. I'll tell you that. But
I can't watch that movie again. But he's great at it.
That's a one and done.
Not post death of.
True.
Yeah. I can't watch it now, knowing how he died and the story in this movie. Yeah. I just can't.
I mean, I can't believe that. Everybody's like, what the? Okay. Next, keep it going. What's the next part?
So Steve Guttenberg, boy, isn't he funny? He would be like one of those dads that had was it 3 dads and a baby?
3 men and a baby.
3 men and a baby, yeah.
But yes, he was one of those guys.
Yes, he was.
I didn't know if you guys knew that.
Oh, yeah.
He's also in The Boys from Brazil.
I didn't.
Cocoon.
Yeah, he is in Cocoon. Cocoon's one of those movies you can't find anywhere. It's not streaming anywhere.
That is kind of strange when you come across those, because there's boring and at the same time a really interesting story, because there's probably 30 seconds of some music that just nobody can figure out who owns it. And rather than being sued over that for showing Cocoon, they're just people can live without Cocoon.
Did you guys ever see Guttenberg on Entourage?
I never watched Entourage. It was too much work.
He got all buff and everything, and it was kind of
he's jacked, man. He's still jacked.
Is he still jacked? Wow, because he got jacked for that.
He shows up on Larry David's show, and he is completely jacked in that show.
But it's funny because you look in this, it's like he's a skinny guy, but you can see there's some muscle there for sure, especially in those kind of beach scenes and everything. The guy's got some guns on him, and then just.
I think that my perfect existence would probably be watching Police Academy related fare for a very long time. So
what?
Yeah, I like this stuff, man. We got to get back on. Like, should we? Because there's like 65 animated episodes, 26 live action episodes, and 6 theatrically released movies. I think, man, we should just spend the next 2 years doing Police Academy.
Sometimes you say things, and I think like specifically, you're just like, what is the thing that's gonna annoy Sean the most?
I also question, like, is there a gas leak in his house?
Look, I'm totally fine watching Police Academy 2, but like I didn't enjoy watching this very much.
Yeah, this was not great. No. I was not bowled over.
I liked it. It's one you can stop and start as many times as you need, and you don't lose the story.
That is true, because it's impossible to lose the story on these shows.
Because everyone is shown at about 10-minute intervals there. It's just like, here's this little bit. All right, next.
And they're
next
all,
bit.
and literally it's all the same. So like, it's the reason why we're having a tough time. Like, is that Police Academy 3 or 4 or 6?
But Police Academy is what we have because in 1984, there was no outlet for things like Reno 911.
Right.
And when you got to make a 2-hour movie and people still aren't full in on like the Jackass style of entertainment documentary ridiculousness. I mean, I think this kind of is in that same market space that later would be occupied by stuff that's streaming and on TV and more like Reno 911, Super Troopers and things like that.
I wouldn't be surprised if Thomas Lennon didn't see this and go, those shorts could be shorter.
Maybe.
I'll show you.
Maybe he did.
Maybe you never know. You never know, because it's very much that kind of style, but not. But even in the 80s, still not short enough.
And I feel like J.J. Abrams or somebody of his ilk, like I'm not saying him specifically, I'm just saying somebody who feels like they're on that level and directs with that style, has done the two gun-toting people having their sex scene and taking all the guns off of them in a totally supposed to be like, ooh, isn't this awesome kind of way. Like I think this scene did it first, and it's also been mimicked a lot. I think there's a lot of cool stuff here.
Yeah, I agree.
And the shot in the dark. Come on now.
So Goots eventually gets found out by Bobcat, and the rest of his buddies are at the precinct, or the rest of his buddies at the precinct are called in to save Goots. A bunch of stuff happens, and the absolute best kind of wedding happens at the end of this movie. Yep, you guessed it. It's a sword tunnel.
Oh,
yeah.
It's a sword tunnel wedding, and that's the best kind of wedding you can possibly have.
Yeah, 100%.
As somebody who is on the record that thinks that owning many, many swords is stupid, no offense to you, Mr. Leslie, the only good reason to have it is to have a sword, is to make sword tunnels.
Yeah.
Never a bad time for a sword tunnel.
Definitely on
but
the bucket list.
It's never as
sword
impressive
tunnel.
when you have to bring your own sword tunnel as when somebody else provides it for you.
Oh yeah, if you're the one who's towing those swords over to wherever you're going, no, you don't need that action.
And
so Uber driver, drop me off where all those guys are standing holding the swords, please.
Yeah.
And so gun guy and new bride gun lady hop into the truck. It's actually the most famous truck in the world, Bigfoot, and the credits roll.
Real heart touching there, because I know in future installments they're gonna, marriage is not always an easy road.
No, it definitely isn't,
especially when
so
you're
who
a cop.
Do they cast? Now let's talk about this, because this has some of the. This has like when people say one-dimensional character, and you say, what does that mean? You say, do you have an hour and 35 minutes? Because I got a little movie to show you here.
Because I can show you 6 very unidentifiable characters from anything of their actual characteristics.
So we are going to recast this, man, real quick, super fast, because, this is what people listen to us for.
Is it?
Who do you cast in these roles now? Like, who is the sound effect guy?
Well, there's only really one important role to nail, which is the Gutenberg role, right? And so, to replace Goots, actually, you make Goots the new commandant. That's a done deal. That's you
easy.
Don't even have to think twice about that. That's the only person. And you have Winslow make an appearance.
Hollywood's putting some money behind it. There's one guy, they're making the first phone call. Now, he may not say yes, but your Mahoney is Mr. Ryan Reynolds.
No. You need you need to make it a somebody of color.
Well, for Mahoney?
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
I was gonna say I liked, just because we're going from same kind of feel but a different kind of scenario. So instead of the black guy who does sound effects, I got black guy who does impressions, Jay Farrow, as that role. Not,
you know what? I think you could have fun with Jay Farrow.
I think you could
That's
have a
pretty
lot
good.
of fun with that.
That's pretty
How
good.
about
And
for
like
your-
he's like Winslow's kid.
Yeah.
Like, that all makes sense.
He's a good-looking guy. He's fun. He's funny. Put that guy in that role.
I kind of like the idea for the commandant. Yeah, I say you make Gutenberg the commandant, but you need like a precinct chief or something for JB Smoove, because he fits in a reboot, in my opinion. Man, I love that guy.
You know what? Having him in an upper management kind of role where he's freaking out and going over everything and it's just driving him up the wall, I do like that. A JB Smoove role that could do it.
It is pretty good. It is pretty good.
Because that's a dude who you could drive to the crazy level, to just that head popping off his shoulders kind of thing. I'm liking that.
Yeah. And for the bad cop, the cop that's in every other Police Academy movie, whose name I never remember, but his sidekick is Proctor.
Yeah.
That cop should be played
Are you
by
talking about Mauser?
Mauser.
Okay.
Yes, the Mauser role should absolutely be played by Will Arnett.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because and
he's so good.
he
for it.
specifically signed up for the nude scene. He's like, that's in the contract that has to stay and make the cut.
So is he a little too old now? Could we still get Offerman to be Tackleberry?
Oh, he's too old, because here's the thing, and I just
They gotta be
realized
young,
this.
don't they?
Yeah, and I just realized this too, is that like you're not going to be able to, like in true Police Academy, all the money goes to the producers, none of it goes to the screen fashion.
Yeah.
You have to you basically have to hire people who cost nothing to hire. And we've done really good about it so far, until I had to open my big mouth about Will Arnett.
I think like young comedians and stuff are like a pretty good I still think Will Arnett can be had for a price.
No way, man, not anymore.
I don't know.
He makes his own money now. Like, you don't have to worry. Like, he's the host of Lego Masters. That thing just prints money for him.
Is that right?
We need people that are like, I'm trying to think, what's that right level? Like the Hassan Minaj level, like they're a name, so you're going to watch them on Netflix, but they're not going to sell tickets at the box office yet.
Not for
and that's how you
nothing,
make
but
it.
I can't work with Hassan Minaj. I can't. I don't know why.
I'm just saying that level. I'm not saying him per se.
Okay, if it's just his level, then that's fine. But I don't know, something about that guy. His haircut's too nice. Don't trust it.
Just build it. No, we're going to build the franchise around Theo Vaughn.
Oh my word, he'd be
He's
something.
that guy-
Theo Vaughn as Tackleberry would not be the worst decision. As some sort of kind of Tackleberry-esque role,
I think he's in the price range you're looking at here. You know, like
you could
probably
get him for a
Instagram
song.
influencer range.
You never email us your Police Academy castings, and we'll cover those on the next Dinger Zone. hearmoviepodcast@gmail.com. Before we get to our final review, though, we have to find out how this Police Academy movie relates back 1-to-1 with Sylvester Stallone.
Well, get ready, because this is an incredibly short one. Thank you, Adam. I have a prepared statement. Hi, Mr. Stallone. James Signorelli is one of 2 directors on Police Academy 2. He's also been directing Saturday Night Live since the mid-'80s. You were on Saturday Night Live, and that's the Stallone connection this week. I hope to hear from you soon. Your pal, Sweet Chauncey from the internet.
I think he was busy this week, Bruce. What do you think?
So busy.
Dude, that's so what my comic book connection was. I rambled about the existence of a comic book.
I literally was watching Police Academy 2 at 6:30. Or I'm sorry, 5:30. That's how little time I had.
Dedication, everybody. It's for you. You, the people. The people. Bruce, where does Police Academy 2, their first assignment, let's say the whole title properly, fall on the
Please.
Robin rating system for you, sir?
Well, it's a top 3 Police Academy movie, which means the lowest I can go is Tim Drake.
Top 3.
Sean?
You know, this is a tough one for me, because I didn't enjoy watching it, but I can see where a lot of things came from because of this movie, you know, as we said earlier. And as smarmy as I think Gutenberg can be in this movie, because he can be super smarmy, and I know he's supposed to be like funny and charming. I think when you live in the era of Ryan Reynolds, who's built a career out of smarmy, like you just notice it so fast in an older movie like this, that I think I got to give it a really like the lowest of Damian Wayne's I possibly can, because it's not unwatchable. It's just not amazing. Yeah. And it's also not offensive enough. Like, I'm one of those weird people that, like, when I see something that's like racist or like completely gay bashing, like it makes me laugh out loud, because I'm like,
now this I can settle down for.
I'm like, how dumb-headed we were to make movies like this for a general audience. Yeah. Like, it's so funny to me.
For me, like I agree. I agree on all these points. Is that it's okay. I can kind of see where things, would lead and everything. But at the same time, too, I just so bored by so much of it, and it's where all the jokes are going to go almost. Yeah. The moment that the joke begins, and ultimately there's nothing to write home about. The budget is so low on this, nothing really happens. I mean, this makes Stripes look like Armageddon. You know what I'm saying?
Well, they're in the same alleyway like 4 times in this movie.
it's
all
pretty
those
rough.
shots were done within a 24-hour time period, I bet.
And then now,
I think you're right.
And now, granted, while Hooks was never the greatest character in the world, you talk about sidelining a character. You just put her back at the precinct and just like, all right, you'll have a 30 seconds, every 45 minutes.
Is Hooks now. There's some casting.
You're not going to be able to afford Jenna Ortega, not with your Police Academy money.
You change it from a movie to a series titled Hooks, and it's kind of like that Wednesday Addams show.
Here's the thing, that like if we took the budget thing out of play, I do like her in that role. Just the small little person who has to get bigger and stand up for themselves and stuff. I'd like that. I think that's a good stunt casting there.
She was the tiniest adult I could think of.
Yeah,
who wasn't like a little really, really old and wrinkly, or like Zelda Rubinstein would work, but
Oh my gosh, I'd pay for that movie. That is it, everybody. Thank you to the folks that voted for this over at patreon.com/HMP. We appreciate all of you guys. We'll talk about what we're going to be doing more next week in just a second. Bruce, where can we find more of your work on the internet?
Just go check out some of the back catalogs here on Hero Movie Podcast. I've been on many episodes where we talk about many movies.
He's showed up once in a while.
Dig in.
Yeah, pick one. Pick one. I'm in it, chances are. Sean, what else?
Bruce brought something up a couple of weeks ago that I thought was really great, which is he was like, oh, you know what? This was a really good episode of our show. And I don't know what I would consider. I mean, I love the Doctor Strange episode that we did, the TV movie one. Mm-hmm. I do love that episode. I don't know what to recommend to people besides that episode to people. Like, oh, this is one where it really is kind of our show.
That was the one where it first came to mind for me. That's the one I kind of always go to be like, oh, that's the cement that kind of put it all together. And so
but I can't think of another episode where I'm like, oh, you know what? That's a really good one for people to listen to. So like, if people could just let me know what their favorite episodes are, that'd be great, so that I can
I love that idea.
Like my daughter's boyfriend, like what episode should I tell him to listen to? That kind of thing.
Yeah. HeroMoviePodcast@gmail.com. What are your favorite HMP episodes over the years? That's if nothing else, that's a Dinger Zone episode for sure. That is it, everybody. Next week, we're going back to the theaters. Holy cow. And this is a big momentous occasion, because I don't know if people know this, speaking about the history of HMP and everything, the first movie to get a full Dick Grayson across the board was Guardians of the Galaxy, and we are going for the hat trick here of Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Will it go for 3 for 3 for full on Dick Graysons the entire time? We don't know. Figure that all out next week, everybody. That is it. Join us next week for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 for Sweet Sounds of Kovacs from the internet. Bruce Leslie, I'm Adam Porters. Stay super, everybody.
Bye, Marty and Evie.
Did anybody make notes for this week?
I did.
Awesome. Because I did not, and I was kind of worried about that because
mine isn't as intricate as it usually gets. Only because I ran out of time, and you'll see when I do. but I
well, yeah, same. Same here. I've had zero time.
Yeah, but I did. I did what I could, and it's a lot considering that this movie is basically the same thing over and over and over and over again.
You mean perfection?
Yes, exactly. Perfection. Adam. Oh, he's not there.
He may have stepped away.
Yeah, I get it. I've had to do that once or twice before myself, where it's like, man, I gotta go to the bathroom right now. Yeah. So, I realized a couple of things about Police Academy too. Rewatching this movie for the first time since it was in theaters in 85.
Wow. I've seen this movie. This is definitely not first 5 times I've watched it.
This is literally the second time I've ever watched this movie. And it's kind of surprising that I think that when most people think about Police Academy, they don't think of the first one. They think of the second one and onward when they think of Police Academy.
100% correct on that.
Well, they think maybe the first act of the first one, but never the second half of the first one for sure. They maybe just the kind of recruitment, and then after that, it's like you said, from 3 on, really. Hell yeah.
I really like that you did the call out to other people's podcasts.
I love that too, man.
That was really great.
I wanted to do it because I love those guys. I do listen to their shows from time. I don't hit every week because we all have time limits and stuff.
It's one of those things I think of all the time on Wednesday, but never when we're doing the show.
You know what I do? Yeah, exactly. And that's one of those things. I always do that because I listen to a lot of these podcasts when I walk or something like that, and so I just kind of go I need to do this. I'm writing them down this week because it's the thing. And that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, I was listening to Marty and Rob talk about Willy's Wonderland just earlier today.
Yeah, and the great part is I don't hate anybody's stuff too.
Yeah,
it's easy to recommend.
I don't have to fake it. I don't have to go but no, please go listen to it. It's good. It's good. No, it's good. It's actually good stuff that I myself listen to. So
yeah, I'm a Patreon supporter on Spook Show now, so I listen to that.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. All right, guys, I'm going to get off here and see if anybody's come home from the way too long after party.
All right. Goodbye, fellas.
Adios.
Bye.